Have a seat.
Have a seat, Gypsy. Hey everyone, Carolina Girl here. Welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone has had a great week so far. TGIF tomorrow. Anyone have any big plans or anything for the weekend? I think it's supposed to rain here all weekend. I'm not really quite sure. I saw something about rain tomorrow anyway. Before I get started, I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you to those that have subscribed to my channel and offered kind words or encouragement regarding the videos that I've been publishing. I really do appreciate the support. I have no clue what I'm doing when it comes to content creating. I'm not really a content creator. I am just passionate about getting the truth out there about this case. Do I think Dee Dee is completely innocent in this case? No. As far as like the con, there was a little bit of a con there. Um, so I do think she's guilty there. But as far as the accusations that Gypsy has made about her mother regarding the Munchausen's by proxy and the abuse, I just don't believe it. And I feel like there's evidence out there that proves that Dee Dee did not have Munchausen's by proxy, but yet Gypsy still wants to continue on with that narrative. So as long as she wants to continue on with that narrative, I feel like we just need to continue on putting this proof out there. And so that's just kind of where I stand. That's all I want to do. It's just every time I can prove her wrong, I want to prove her wrong. And so I don't know if that makes me a bad person. It just have to make me a bad person. But I feel like I can see right through Gypsy with her story. I've seen right through her from the beginning. I've never, ever supported Gypsy because I felt like her story was nothing more than a defense. And Bree gets mad when you call it a defense, but that's what it was. It was to keep her butt out of prison for the rest of her life. And that's all it was a defense. Anyway, let's get off of that. Let's get on to the topic of tonight's discussion. I'm coming to y'all today to discuss medical malpractice and why I think Gypsy didn't sue for the supposed unnecessary medical procedures and treatment she underwent. When she was released from prison, it was a big topic in the true crime community. I started looking back into this case. I wondered why, if she, had been medically abused, why haven't the doctors or hospitals been held accountable? I looked to see if she had sued any of the providers that treated her and came across this article that was published in June 2017. Kristy was doing an interview, I guess, to promote Mommy Dead and Dearest, which premiered 2017 in May 2017. And so this article was where I pulled that excerpt out of Kristy interviewing regarding medical malpractice, and it was actually published June 6, 2017. Now, this site is actually defunct. It originated sometime in 2011, and the website was taken down August 2025. And I found the article link. I went to the Wayback Machine to look because I wanted to be able to provide this link where I got the excerpt from. I just like to be able to back up, anything I say or provide to you guys. I want to be able to provide you where I got it from. And I'm being upfront that this site is now defunct. So the link, I'm going to post it in the description box, but it may or may not work. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and go on to Kristy's interview. It's Hello Giggles. She says, have any doctors faced repercussions for treating Gypsy and not discovering she was not actually ill? Have any systemic changes been made in law and healthcare to ensure this cannot happen again? Kristy replied, we are in the works with that right now. We reached out to a few lawyers that work in malpractice, but none of them want to touch it. They reject us every time. But maybe now that the documentary is out and they get to see it, they'll think differently. So we're in the process of trying to find that lawyer that's going to want to take this case on. I mean, like Dr. Bernardo Flasterstein. It kind of made me angry that he didn't want to report it. And like he said, Gypsy wasn't being abused, she was being overtreated. To me, it's the same thing. You're overtreating a child. So in this interview, basically, Kristy states that they could not find an attorney that handled malpractice. None of them wanted to take this case. They were rejected every time. It seems to me if Gypsy had all these unnecessary medical treatments and procedures, these lawyers would be beating down her door to take her case. So this is the doctor that Kristy is referring to in this interview here, that Dr. Bernardo Flasterstein. He gave this interview in Gypsy's Mommy Dead or Dearest documentary.
We report patients to social services. We do that when we feel that there's a neglect. But a neglect is different what this mom was doing. She wasn't really neglecting her. She was over treating her.
So this is a screenshot that was provided to me. It was shortly after Gypsy got out of prison, actually. She was released from prison December 2023. And so I'm going to say this was probably sometime in early 2024. Early 2024. So we're talking like almost 6 years that in between that interview that Kristy gave and this screenshot right here. And the reason why that's kind of like a deal, we'll get to that. But the person here says, I hope that a good lawyer gets with Gypsy and they sued the crap out of every single doctor that prescribed medication and or did unnecessary surgery on her. That's what baffles me the most about this whole thing. How can a doctor perform a surgery on someone that doesn't even need it? And Kristy replied, that's one thing we did and still wonder about. Rod and I have tried to find a lawyer to go after them, and none of them wanted to take this case on. We will see if Gypsy can do something about it. So this is an excerpt from Gypsy's book regarding medical malpractice, chapter 12, page 85-86. Now keep in mind, she started writing this book while in prison, okay? So I'm not sure when she got to this part, but she was writing this book while she was in prison. She said, but I toyed with the idea of filing a malpractice lawsuit because I have all of the evidence of negligence. Really, though, I just want to, I can't see what that says up in the top corner because of my little logo there. I apologize. I just want to something on my, I know what it is. I just want to focus on my future restorative surgery. So if I sue anyone, it will be so they pay for things they did in the past that continue to cause me to suffer in the present. My teeth are what I want back. Absent some kind of compensation, I'd have to pay out of pocket to undo things that were done to me. I'm very much still paying for their mistakes. I'm not asking for millions of dollars. I'm just saying, help me have enough money to pay for restorative surgery so I could at least have a little normalcy back in my life. And the last I checked, they can't give me my salivary glands back. Boy. I don't know about you guys, but number one, I'm gonna, like I said, we're kind of gonna go down the line here. Let me cover this real quick because it's along the same line. So I'm gonna do like kill two birds with one stone here. So I took this screenshot of Gypsy's famous post where she was sitting in the middle of her medical records. I think she did this for like a Lifetime promotion or for her show when she first got out of prison, that Life After Lockup. I think this was like one of the promos or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. Excuse me. So she's sitting in the middle of her medical records. And someone asked her on this post regarding, if she was going to sue for medical malpractice. I'm going to go ahead and read this. So, I'm sorry, the system failed you. Is there legal action against these hospitals you can take? And Gypsy said, I'm looking into it. Unfortunately, it cost a lot of money that I don't have. People are misled to believe I have millions and I maybe have 15K to my name. And so that person underneath her, that's not me. I had actually replied to her, and it was kind of funny. And this person actually replied after me. And then shortly after this, she she kept deleting comments, and then she turned off comments, and then she deleted the whole post. But it was kind of funny because I knew by her comment, it led me to believe that she did not really look into the medical malpractice because so I commented on her post and I explained that I worked in the legal field many moons ago, which I did. It's been probably about 30 years ago, but I still worked in the legal field and I know how it goes. Um, and I simply told her that what she said wasn't true. So what she said here about, it would cost her money that she doesn't have, she said the same thing in her book about it would cost her money that she didn't have to try to get something going for medical malpractice. And that's just simply not true. She wouldn't need to provide any of her money up front. Most of the lawyers, most, if not all, medical malpractice attorneys are free consultation. Then, if they agree to take her case, the fee is based on whatever she would be awarded. She doesn't pay any money up front. The law firm would foot the bill. If she didn't win, it would be no cost to her, and the law firm would eat the cost. Normally, though, they only take cases that they know they can win or settle. So she delayed, like I said, she deleted my comment. She eventually shut comments off on that post, and then she deleted the whole post. So my guess is they couldn't find an attorney to take this case on because there wasn't a case. I would think that, this would be a multi-million dollar lawsuit, if I'm not mistaken, with the claims that Gypsy's made. I mean, she's made some bold statements about these doctors, jumping through all these hoops because Dee Dee just went into their office and demanded, hey, you need to do this for my daughter and you need to do that for my daughter. And they said, yes, ma'am, without any questions asked. I just don't believe that story. I don't believe, and I understand Gypsy's medical records are out, but I just looking through, and then also, like I said, with that videotape that I hope I'm going to have in my possession soon of Gypsy admitting that Dee Dee didn't know she could walk, that Gypsy withheld from Dee Dee that she could walk for 13 years because I'm going to say she wanted her mom's attention. She wanted her mom to focus on her. And I've got a whole other video on that I'm going to get into. But basically, you're dealing with a multi-million dollar lawsuit here, if Gypsy's claims were true, but none of these people wanted to touch this case, and it just doesn't make sense to me. So now the statute of limitations is up in this case. To file in Louisiana, there's a 1-year statute of limitations. In Louisiana, the statute of limitations for medical malpractice lawsuits is 1 year. The lawsuit must be filed within 1 year from either the date of the alleged negligence or the date when the injured patient learned of the negligence or should have reasonably have discovered it. And in Missouri, it's 2 years. The statute of limitations for medical malpractice in Missouri is 2 years, meaning a patient has 2 years from the date of injury to file a complaint with the court. Additionally, there's a 10-year repose period, which limits the time frame for filing a claim regardless of when the injury occurred. Understanding these time limits is crucial for anyone considering a medical malpractice claim. Even so, even with that being said, I mean, it's already been 10 years since the crime was committed. And Gypsy supposedly knew, that she wasn't sick and she this and she could walk and blah, blah, blah. I mean, she's admitted all this on her documentaries and bits and pieces here and there. And so, I mean, she's already admitted this. And so she said that, she was going to have this surgery. So it was either her life or her mom's life. And that's what pushed her over the edge, right? She was going to have this throat surgery, she was afraid her vocal box or something. I don't know what she said, but because she drives me crazy. It really drives me crazy. So anyway, the statute of limitations is basically up in this case, and I feel like that ship has sailed as far as, suing now. And that's Bree's big thing, when people say, well, why didn't you sue? And Bree is like, well, the statute of limitations is up now. Girl, it's been 10 years. It's not like, it's not like it just happened. It's been 10 years. She had 10 years to sue, and according to Kristy, they've been to a few lawyers and they rejected them. They rejected them. So anyway, I would like to play a clip for you of Gypsy on Bree's Live. It was about either last week or the week before, and I'm leaning more for about 2 weeks ago, because this was the last time Gypsy was on Bree's Live. And so I've been going through the live, and I've been just kind of pulling clips that pertain to some of the stuff that I like to talk about. But here is Gypsy on Bree's panel, like I said, a couple weeks ago.
Sue the doctors. Well, the thing is like I didn't even think about statute of limitations. It was a big deal to me when I was in prison. And I've always just been so damn busy. Like in prison, I was in school. I was trying to get my GED. I had a few phone calls with Kristy where she and Dad went looking for an attorney. Kristy told me that she didn't get a phone call back from any of the attorneys that she had reached out to. And then later, Kristy would do interviews, and she said, I reached out to attorneys. They said they wouldn't touch the case. Now, I believe Kristy. Was I there to confirm that information? No, I believe Kristy. But
you go ahead and finish. I'll tell you also.
But that's just, that's what I was told. And then after that, I kind of just was like, you know what? It's not going to give me my salivary glands back. It's not going to give me those years that I could have been running around in the yard back. So what gain do I have? Most of the doctors are too old and retired now to even sue. What does it matter? Like, I have a kid now. I have a life now. I'm 34 years old. If they're retired, then good. They ain't going to do it to anybody else. What's the point in suing them now?
Well, you know what?
I just can't with this girl. I really can't. I mean, there's just so much wrong with this clip right here. Just this little clip. There's just so much wrong with it as far as I'm concerned. She made bold claims about these medical providers, saying they did things that they shouldn't have done, basically, because her mom said, I want this done. Or, Gypsy's suffering from this, so this needs to be done. It was like she was given the call and the shots and stuff, and, barking the orders. And these doctors were just jumping through hoops, like Dee Dee was in the Mercy Children's Hospital performing a circus or something, having these doctors jump through all these hoops for Gypsy. I just don't see it. And so Gypsy, she acts like she just can't be bothered. Number one, she's insinuating like Kristy's lying about these lawyers rejecting her. That's what she's trying to insinuate there. When she's like, well, I believe Kristy, but was I there? I wasn't there, but I believe Kristy. I mean, I know what she's trying to insinuate there, and I think everybody else probably does too. But I mean, Kristy, that's why I made kind of a big deal about the fact that one interview was done in June 2017, and then I had a screenshot, I'm going to say probably in early 2024, and Kristy said the same thing. This is 6 years later, and she said the same thing, almost verbatim, that she said in that interview about we were rejected. You were rejected because you didn't have a case. That's why you were rejected. And then Gypsy wants to act like she's so damn busy in prison. Are you kidding me? You want to see what her schedule was in prison? Let's look at what her schedule was in prison. This is her schedule in prison, folks. 7:30 a.m. they had count time, and so they sat up in their bunks, they turned the lights on, the COs come by, and they account for all the inmates. She said it takes about 15 to 20 minutes, after which she went back to sleep. 10:30 a.m. she gets down from her top bunk, she says, clicks on her TV and makes her little instant coffee. She takes coffee in hand and goes to the day room. She says, sometimes I make phone calls, but most times she'd go back to her room, look at her locker, and pick something out to eat for the most part, and then go back to the day room. That was at 10:30. From 1:30 to 3 p.m., they had rec time. She said, I like to work out on the elliptical machine for about an hour. I'd come back to the housing unit, shower, and by the time I was out and dressed, it was about 3 p.m. 3 p.m., I went to work. I took out the trash, swept and mopped, changed toilet paper rolls, and so on. So she was basically a janitor, which, hey, cool. 4:30 p.m., count time again. We returned to our rooms and sat on our bunks until the COs finished. 5 to 10 p.m., free time for phone use or other things like reading or playing games or studying. I was able to get my GED while at Chillicothe. 10 p.m., count time and time for bed. So she was in Chillicothe for 8.5 years, folks, but she was too damn busy to talk to an attorney about medical malpractice. She blamed these doctors on national television, anywhere she could, saying that they, like I said, were jumping through hoops for Dee Dee, doing all these unnecessary things to her because Dee Dee told them to. Dee Dee lost her life for this. But she couldn't talk, she couldn't reach out to a few attorneys. Are you kidding me? And she's sitting there talking about, I'm 34, I have a life now, I have a kid now. What would be the point? Well, I think the point would be, the main point would be to hold these people accountable, don't you think? Like I said, Dee Dee lost her life for this. And she's just like, la, la, la. What's the point of doing it now? They're probably so old, la, la, la. Well, you can't do it now, Gypsy. Now that ship has sailed. And the fact of the matter is, you didn't have a case, but you've smeared these doctors. You've smeared your mother. I just can't with you. I can't with you. There seems to be a lot of excuses surrounding why you can't go after these medical providers. I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, to me, I would think holding these people accountable, and you say, you have a child. Yeah, you do have a child. That would be my second point. My second point would be you would be able to provide financial security for a long time for you and your child had you gone after these medical providers if your story was true. But see, I don't think your story is true. And that's why these lawyers said, no, we can't take your case. We're not getting it. We're not touching that. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. I gotta probably sign off on this one because she just rattles my nerves because I could see right through her. It's no more than a defense story. That's all it ever was. I think she was pulling the strings a lot more than people know. And I'm gonna, like I said, I've got a video that I'm working on, and I'm gonna try to get that out. I don't know. We'll just have to see where it goes. But anyway, as always, I appreciate everyone's support. If you like the content that I've been putting out, please subscribe. If you have not subscribed to the channel, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss upcoming videos. Also, if you'd like to share, if you like what you saw, please share the video and my channel so we can spread the truth out. I would greatly appreciate all the help that I can get, getting the exposure because, like I said, all I want to do is put the truth out there. I'm not trying to put out any lies or any falsehoods. I'm using Gypsy's words. I'm using her interviews. I'm using her emails or her messages, whatever. But I mean, I'm not putting out falsehoods. So, y'all have a nice evening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your support. And again, y'all have a great evening.
You make me say,